afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican. I'm running for your Commander-in-Chief of Abbotsford to bring the RCMP into Abbotsford. Let me show you why. Let me show you why and what took place in my town, on my residents. Let me show you. Let me begin the story like this, so all law enforcement around the world can see. A man that thought he was so smart, a complete screw-up, thought they had it in the bag. Establishment. This is Chief Mike Sir. He was the commander of Abbotsford's shithole fucking abuse man that carried out abuse attacks for Henry Braun. Henry Braun went into the city of Abbotsford, took his friends, took people that he was tied to. Mark Workentine, he pointed to the police board. Erwin Brown, you could see them all. He took Abbotsford first, the majority of the slate, into his house to collaborate and pass decisions. Let me explain something. All the Abbotsford First that I showed you, thanks to Darren Brown, like Dave Sidhu, selling Andy Sidhu's property on Tracy Road for an order to block at UFV. Greg Toes at the Chamber of Commerce blocking. Gabriel, Dave Lowens running down and scamming. It would have been an impossibility to prove without the RCMP emissions help. The attempt on my life that overwhelmed the evidence of Henry hitting me in his car and fleeing in the Alexis car, Abbotsford police threatening the 911 calls and everything. The RCMP knew that the witnesses were too many, the evidence was too strong, it was overwhelming. They never looked away. They knew that this was an elite organized crime and it had big players involved. Ed Fast, son-in-law tied to Devon Roy, Pacific Peak Homes, tied to Diverse, which Henry lobbied to black Ed Fast and everything. Mike DeYoung's illegal party, because they told Mike they were going to run him at the federal election. In order for the Abbotsford police not to charge him and make the front pages, he was blocked. Inside information that shocked everybody around the world and law enforcement everywhere, that Henry's own son brought it. I'm up here at Ledgeview Golf Course. And I show you now podcast 5 and what took place. Augustine Billionaire set up to make Augustine and give money to UFB, bring the water and services at his cost and everything. Henry took Abbotsford First in his house to collaborate and vote him down. In order to steal his project, Henry was responsible for bringing Polygon in on the illegal site on Cooper's Farm, taking it off the dockets and switching it to the dockets. Now, Polygon, thanks to council, wait for Dave Lowens to shit his drawers, is going to develop at Ledgeview. This was official OCP plan that Henry went in and worked his ass off, and I giggled and laughed and told the RCMP, you know why? We need to run for mayor. He said, why? I said, Henry's setting up the official plan. And when I told him on Canada Day, he shit his drawers. He shit his drawers. Henry lost control of what he stood, using the city to enrichinate him and his friends, pointing only his people to gain, controlling city councillors to vote his way, and using the Abbotsford police. We got Mark Workentine, a city lawyer, that sits on a council, knew what was going on. We saw it all. I led to the world stage an order for all politicians, police forces to see what took place in Abbotsford. I encourage you to drive up here to Ledgeview and have a look. This is what Darren Brown was working his ass off for his dad in the city. This is why Henry had to pay Great Toes to block me. Vicky hopes not to run me. Dave Sidhu figured I tied up all the ends. But not knowing his son had told. In order, we got Ross in, we got the councils. Are you ready? Are you ready, big Polygon? insider trading. Let me tell you why. I got no problem with the development site. Are you getting ahead? A man's life was threatened and targeted and left for dead. Me, in Henry, got in his car and tried to end my life. A policeman and women that figured we're so smart, nobody will ever catch us. You know, unless we charge. Charges don't go forward. Look at the little mobs team. A police force that had no longer leadership or command. No longer serving. It was a complete mob, and we saw it coming unhinged, punching people, beating people. Now, you know what the Abbotsford police are going to do with my big investigator, the one that can't hardly stand up? He can't run around Abbotsford, he can't chase. He's going after kids in the scooters. I can't go after the mob. You know why? Henry embezzled the $81 million and the cost overruns. Darren Braun showed me for $5 million you could retrofit the old police station using city councillors and friends without the general public to order to build the bigger police department. Not that it was needed. He was building himself an army. I knew right there and then, if Abbotsford didn't stand up and come forward, Henry would have ruled like Hitler. These men were never about law enforcement, let me tell you why. The RCMP put it together like this. So did John Rustow. How many investigators have sat down with Abbotsford homeowners? I said none. How many investigators have took the witnesses that were there when Henry hit and ran? I said none. How many investigators have took you in for statements on the task force threatening you? None. He said, how many witnesses in the Abbotsford police called in on anything? I said none. He said, by shit, they thought they could do cleanup. I'm live on Ledgeview. To all my politician friends, organized crime in Abbotsford got out of control, and this is why I lead to beg for the RCMP to take over Abbotsford, because they're going to forensic audit. They're going to go after everybody that was involved, and these are all Henry's friends. I showed you. All of them were his. He blocked the East Indians from developments. He used Peter Speranese, the city manager. He used Rob Isaac, and he was fast-tracking. He figured he had it all. And let me tell you the most important thing. The screw-up of Abbotsford men and women, they'll never get caught. I'll never get caught. I'm working for old Watts, shit Watts. The man got in his car in broad daylight, came where Abbotsford residents were. Henry Braun, the mayor, stood on the gas of his Lexus car and proceeded to end my life. You might say God put the angels around me, and I was very lucky. Henry fled from the scene. 911 was called. Abbotsford men and women, you listen to the Abbotsford Staff Sergeant. Go fuck yourself. I ain't coming after the mob. I run into town with Henry. I got a gun. You need 5 guns. I believe, let me explain, this big fight on this organized crime is why Abbotsford police are being shot and murdered in Abbotsford, in my opinion. I believe the sneaky shit was going on behind the backs, and nobody will know the truth. And they could throw big elaborate funerals. They can use other police to come in and pull them out of trouble. This, nobody looks away from. Even the RCMP knew that the evidence was overwhelming. The Abbotsford police were in too far. These weren't police officers. They were shithole garbage men. Then they knew they were in trouble, and then they used violence. I don't want to be charged. I don't want to go to jail for the rest of my life. I don't want to get caught that I was obstructing justice. I don't want to get caught. Look at me. I'm having a meeting every day upstairs. I'm trying to beg on somebody. That task force went after us South Asians, Councillor Mogill, and proceeded to do heinous, filthy acts. When that officer smashed my phone, my camera, and made accusations. This shithole commander, the greatest, scared to stand beside Ross. Ross, look at you. I distanced myself. The police chief scared. You know why? I want to save my ass, Ross. I don't want to bail you out, Ross. I don't want to take pictures with you, Ross. I want to save the company, Ross. I need to manage it. This is why we need the RCMP. Forensic audits, like I showed you, And then we come in with a massive charges and we go after it. High elite politicians of Abbotsford were involved. So let me make it clear of who. Ed Fast, the MP of the Federal Conservatives, knew what he did when he covered up for Henry Braun. He knew he should have went to Ottawa. Mike DeYoung, the MLA, who was well-versed as a lawyer, a former prosecutor, knew what he did when he said, you drop the videos and you cut a deal with Henry Braun of everything Henry was doing. He owns Abbotsford. This was long set up behind the scenes. It was a buddy system. And this is why I went over to the RCMP. And let me make it clear to all my viewers, to all politicians, to everybody that stood here, Henry's own son that he took in to do the dirty work, put her all together, showed it all, led me by the hand. Big Chief, come after the Big Chief. I'm out tonight with a black car. I'm undercover. Feel sorry for me. There's a sorry pity. We must put a stop to it, and they must be shown examples that nobody covers from the law, and they must face the consequences of what they did to cover it up. The investigators, the Safety Standards Act, and everything. Not only did they not get the chance thanks to the RCMP, they thought they were smarter. They thought it was all in the bag. My gosh, I want to tell Colin Watts, you got no fucking way out of this, because these threats led. And in my opinion, I believe the sneaky shit that's been going on in that attachment is nothing. This ain't even the surface of what your slob pigs have done to residents. I believe that they're going out. I saw the attack on that prostitute. Look, we gotta defend each other. We're gangs. Gangs are supposed to stick up for each other. But I want to make the clear picture today, very clear to Abbotsford, to Canada, and to all my politicians' friends. We owe and must say thanks to the mission RCMP. We must make sure that the men that defend residents, uphold the law, and don't care who you are the RCMP. And we must show that these assholes, these elite rich assholes that went in to own this private police, were nothing about stealing. And this led to organized crime. I believe. Not that I believe, I truly can make the statement. This is why they couldn't set up their business in Mission or set up their business in Chilliwack or anywhere else, because the RCMP are there. They get wind of this shit and you're investigated. To Colin Watts, Abbotsford residents give you an open invitation to come and take all the statements. You figured you were smarter. To save the team. We'll save the team. We'll save the team. We won't take any statements. We'll save each other. The lead investigator can't be fired. He can't be let go. He's got a wife. He's got children. We're going to go like no other. This is why I'm asking to be your commander-in-chief of Abbotsford. Polygon will be the first guys with Ron Funk before our Supreme Court. Live, Abbotsford, British Columbia.